Whoa, what's going on, everybody? It's a new day, it's a new deck in the Private Beta 2 right here. We are playing our first round of today. Let's see how it goes. And Loving Martini is the guy to beat. He's on wave number 37 right now in first place. Private Beta has been such a blast. I hope you have it already. If you don't have it, check out the official Illuvium Discord, and you will have it in no time. So what I wanted to focus on today is the early game, because early game is really important now because we have interest. For example, if I press start right now, I will have 120 mastery points left over, which means 10% of this, 12 mastery points, I will generate for next round. So you can stack up a nice amount in the early wave, in the early game, by using the least amount of units possible, and in this case it's just gonna be nothing, and that's always a good thing to try as well. So if we don't equip anything on the Ranger, we won't make it. So we will have to equip a little bit more, and we will have to try to find the smallest expenditure that we can get. So usually I go with those 25 mastery point units with the Flish or the Volante right there, because then we can bond this Illuvial. But the sword will only cost 12. That would be a bit cheaper. We have 8 mastery points left. You don't get interest for 8, only every 10. So for 108 we get 10% of the 100, so we get 10 mastery points. We have 8 points left, so we can equip this shield, and that should easily win us the round. And that's actually cheaper than using a 25 cost Illuvial right there. Alright, not easily at all. The sword does no damage at all. Back to the drawing board. But that's what you gotta do in the early game. You gotta really grind out a few early waves to find out the lowest expenditure that you can use to beat those waves. Should we try the shield? Let's go. Let's see how the shield does. See how the shield performs. Alfie is quite a beast. He has so much attack speed right now. I think has the most attack speed in the game. Surely the lazy is gonna destroy us. Nice stun. Oh, so close. One auto hit away from killing him. That was unlucky. Maybe if we position our Ranger a little bit better, like right here in front of him, we will can squeeze in one more auto hit. Let's see. So this is very important now with Private Beta 2. We gotta figure out how to beat the early waves the best, and then the mid game and the late game are really not that hard anymore, because then we have so much money to work with. Alright, he's still one auto hit. Alright, I guess one of those small Illuvials has to come in. Which one is it gonna be? Let's bring in the Rogue, and now we can bind our Ranger with this unit, gaining its affinity and class. So now our Ranger is also Air and Rogue. You can see it here, 2 Air, 2 Rogue. And yeah, now we're just gonna assassinate this Alfie. I don't think he will stand a chance now. We actually have 5 mastery points left over, but there is no armor which costs less than 6. Oh my god, Alfie again winning with 1 auto hit. Alrighty, next one on the list. This Flish. Bond him. We let the Flish tank because our Ranger is so squishy. So yeah, the smallest armor would be 6, and then we would lose another interest point. So we're just gonna go like this. This is the new grind. We have checkpoints now, so there's not so much grind anymore. Oh, this is going way worse. Alrighty. We tried it out, and now we know this doesn't work. So we're just gonna equip the sword. Oh, not the sword. Just the shield, and give her like an armor with it. And now we're gonna beat it for sure. And now we gotta figure out the wave 2. The units, we got a Ramfire, Titan, Adorius, Duelef, Seer, Vermilia, Adoredo Arcane Floralinx, Singe, Furiox, Fernite, Dash, Riptor, Lura, Cuculus, Axon, Lynx, Greater Water Grocko, Archie, Lesser Air Volante, and Lesser Nature Flish. Ooh. Getting harder and harder. Really nice unit, especially up here. I wanted to try out the Ramfire for a while, especially with some nice augments that we have here. Gains 2 Omega power per second, and on Omega cleanses itself, gaining 20% of energy cost as Omega power. Wow, that would be really good. For example, on Ramfire, just giving him more Omega damage on his cast. By the way, those orange ones are supposed to be the offensive ones. Those purple ones. Oh, shoot. Alrighty. Let's see if our Ranger can 2-on-1 them. Those purple ones are supposed to be the tanky augments, and the white ones are supposed to be... Oh, that's too many lasers, I guess. The white ones are supposed to be the support augments. So, let's have a look at it again. What are we gonna bring in for wave number 2? I think we're just gonna bring our rogue in, and actually, since we have an air shield equipped right now, bringing in the air rogue and then bonding it, we will gain 3 airs, and that will be strong enough to beat wave number 2, and also the smallest expenditure that we can afford. Look at that, we got 3 air now, 2 rogue, 1 bulwark, and actually 1 vanguard. Because now our bulwark Tempest Vanguard because he gained air and rogue. What does a Vanguard do anyway? Start of a combat, Vanguard units blink to the opposite side of the board, like all rogues do, and their first attack stuns for 1 second. Vanguard units gain a crit chance, and upon dealing critical strike, gain physically and energy resist. Alrighty, so they stun right away, and the more they crit, the more they become tanky. Too bad both of the enemies are focusing our Volante, but the enemy Flish is already dead, so it's not a big deal. Wonderful. By the way, the Flish Omega is kind of like the Sinal's Omega used to be. Targets as the furthest enemy and damages everybody in the way. And the Dual F laser now is different. It still targets the furthest enemy, but as soon as it hits one target, there it stops. And once it has burst through this target, then it goes on to the next. So it doesn't go through units anymore. Alrighty, we have 3 mastery points to work with to still gain the maximum interest. So not much we can do because we already have the biggest shield equipped. I mean, we could get 2 mastery points out and then upgrade this guy to be an Archie, but I think like this it should still work fine. Because we have that 3 air threshold and the Tempest, our Ranger is so tanky, just dodging a lot. You can see that. But also the enemy Vermi right there has been dodging everything. We're not doing any damage. The enemy also has 3 air and 3 empath, so they're just out-sustaining us right now. And we gotta bring in some more for wave number 3. So once again, don't worry because we're losing a lot. That's how it's supposed to be. We gotta figure out the early waves, and from there on it's smooth sailing. At one point we can also just not go for full mastery points and just invest a little bit and only save 90 mastery points or something. We don't have to go up to all the way to 250 mastery points or whatever. Like, that's a bit too greedy. If you maintain like an interest of like 15, around 150 mastery points, I think that's a good value to go into the late game. 119, huh? So bring in this guy, bond them, And now if we... No, never mind. Let's get it. We definitely need to bring in more damage because our air shielded ranger has a lot of tankiness, but we need something to break air empaths. Could be a flish. If we sell, downgrade the armor to this one and then get in a flish, we still have 100 mastery points left over. And it could work like this. Also gonna split the damage between our units, so in order to give our flish the longest time possible. Our Volante is dying pretty fast. He manages to cast 1 Omega. So now the flish laser is coming through. And you see that's a lot of damage, but actually it's by far not enough. Alright, seems like wave number 3 is a bit of a tough one. It's gonna be hard to maximize your mastery points there. We're just missing damage really, like the enemy Kuka is doing the most damage. Our flish just slightly ahead. Alrighty, alrighty. Sweet! By the way, I'm doing like daily clips. Know more about the patch notes. I'm gonna cover all the patch notes that I did on the Illuvium stream. Also, we're gonna do a stream on illuvium.io. No, on the official Illuvium Twitch/illuvium.io. And yeah, that's gonna be nice. We're gonna do that stream later today. I just wanted to give you this video first to figure out the early game before I go on stream, because this can be like, it's so important, but it's maybe not so entertaining to watch. That's why I give it to you. You need this. If you want to get good in arena, you need to know how to beat the early game most efficiently. And that's what we're figuring out right now. So until wave 2 we already figured it out. Like, you can go so much into detail. I won't go too deep. I'm just gonna invest a little bit more for wave number 3 right now, so we don't get stuck on it again. Actually, I want to try with a rogue. 3 rogues. They buffed the primary synergies a little bit, so the 3 rogues, and they also buffed like the smaller thresholds a little bit. So 3 rogues is a bit better than it used to be, and 9 rogues, for example, is a bit weaker than it used to be. We should focus Kuka this time. Burmy is a bit too tanky, I feel like. So if we jump like that, should have at least 2 units on Kuka. Yes sir, our ranger is tanking, our Volante is not getting much damage. Also our Lura is tanking a little bit, looks way better. This time we're gonna out-tank those enemies. Lura coming in with a big Omega, doing a lot of damage. And if they're not dodging, they're actually getting a lot of damage from our crits. Awesome. Yesterday I did the same with fighters. So yesterday we had a lot of fighters, and it was so fun to get through the early waves with just using fighters and the shield, the sword. So that would be another approach. We could bring in a Riptor, equip the sword on our ranger, and then bond with the Riptor to gain a Berserker Ranger. Yesterday I had 2 Berserkers with Ripelands and the Ranger, which was really nice. I think we're just gonna roll it as is and hope for the best. We do anything, we have the best armor equipped. We could bring in like a 20 mastery points augment. But maybe we can beat it like this, the wave, and then we're saving 2 mastery points of interest for next round. So yeah. That's what we're here to figure out. I wonder what that Omega does. Look at that. And there we go. We managed to beat the wave like this. And that's awesome. So look. Creates a medium area around them for 5 seconds. Allies within heal for... Oh, he's constantly healing everybody in there. That's interesting. The links are so interesting because they have... There is a links for every affinity and for every class, I believe. Like every base class and every base affinity. So cool. 31 links is. I think 72 tier 0s. Tier 0s are, by the way, the units that are gonna be free to play. Completely free to play, and they have so much love in them. Right, we got those 3 guys. I think it's time for a bit of an upgrade. I think it's time for another tank. Singe is really talking to me right now, but Axon right here is really OP as well. Let's get in Axon. And we should be good, especially versus all those fire guys. Just need to bring Axon a bit back. So our ranger is hopefully tanking something. Axon has 2 units on him. His shield is going to be so strong. And he can load his mana while he's shielded, which shouldn't be the case. But he still had a bit too much on his plate, and it's going to be a tough one. This Lynx is going to come out with a big Omega explosion, so now we're down to a 1-on-1 between this Singe right here and our Ranger. It looks pretty good for the Singe, to be honest. Now he will cast and do a lot of damage to our... Alright, it's gonna be a close one. We need some dodges over here. By the way, at 45 seconds, that what just happened. At 45 seconds, all Illuvials on the battle board are gonna get damage. Every second, zoom, zoom, zoom. It's like sudden death, and whoever dies first loses. And since our Ranger had a little bit less health, we died first. Like, we just died on the first tick of the sudden death, I believe. I wonder... 100 mastery points somehow. I just thought about something which was kind of obvious, but I didn't think about it earlier. So let's try it. What if we use the sword and then the 8 cost armor? Oh, there's no 8 cost, the 9 cost armor. So now we are left with 100 mastery points. 10 income. 1 income more than the round before. I forgot. Alfie completely destroys us if we use the sword. Alrighty, never mind. So, back to the armor. Back to the shield. Let's do this. Alrighty, I want to get at least like up to around 200 mastery points just to show you that you just have to grind a little bit in the early game, and then you have a lot of money to work with, a lot of mastery points to work with. That's gonna help you a lot to win this game. What do we do here? Brought in the rogue. Bonded. Always remember to bond your ranger to an Illuvial. It's free and gives you extra affinity, extra classes. Hey, so who's coming in now? We said another, yeah. Lura was the other one. I mean, if we had the time now, we could try to do it with, like, the Water Grocko, giving us 5 more points. Then we would have 88. Then we can sell our armor to get 3 points back to have 90. But, you know, sometimes you shouldn't focus too much on just getting 1 mastery point. Like, spend 2 hours to find that perfect technique. You want to find a good middle ground between spending too much time figuring out every single income point and not doing it at all. You definitely want to stay around over 100 mastery points for the first, I don't know, 15, maybe 20 waves. And after 20, I start to, like, I usually try to stay around 150 mastery points till maybe 20, and then I start investing a bit more because I'm getting into the later stage of the game, and then you can use up your mastery points anyway. So this round still worked out with what we had right here. Range is tanking the right plants, and the Lura is tanking the Lynx. The good thing is Lynx stays out of range for his heal to heal the right plants. So right now, looks amazing, doesn't it? He's not healing the right plants, so that helps us, but we're beating this wave easily anyway. We could really downgrade again for this wave. Like, wave 3 was way harder than wave 4. Oh wow! He also gives energy to all the Illuvials he's healing. If I read that right, he's giving 5 energy per second to all the Illuvials. Energy is mana, by the way, so that's super strong. This is the wave that got us beat. We just brought in the Axon. I think it was more a problem of mispositioning, especially because our Ranger is a rogue, even though he's supposed to be the tank. So we're gonna change her right now. To change the bond, you have to just sell the unit we bonded with, which was the Volante, and now we can bond her with the Axon, giving her Harbinger as well. So now we have double Harbinger, which is really nice. We're getting the full buffs of that. And then, actually, like the set bonus of the 2 Harbingers is when vanquished, when the Harbinger... Whoa. Alright, get him in. Doesn't matter. Just be tanky enough right now. We got 3 bulwarks, 3 waters. We have sustain and we have a lot of energy regeneration, so should be easy. We still have 90 mastery points, so we're still getting a decent amount of income. Should be alright. Now I'm just gonna show you what happens once you want to pull the trigger and you think like, oh, I figured it out good enough. I came through the early game pretty solid, and now I'm just gonna try to find that fine line between not dying and dying. Just investing enough mastery points to beat the wave. There's where a lot of feeling comes in. Like, you gotta know, what do I really need to beat an Umbre and then the right plants, you know? And yeah, we still gotta figure it out. Right now it feels like they're just, like, right plants is gonna out-sustain my damage. And I don't have enough damage on the board right now. I think we're gonna sell the Lura, which is kinda an underperforming unit in my eyes. And we might get in another water. Like, we could try to push water. Water is not the best affinity though, so... we could bring in a Cuculus, giving us 3 Cyan and... yeah. Giving us 3 Cyan and an Enchanter. That could be cool. It also helps with the single target damage. Because when he Omegas the target dies very fast. Gets stunned, everybody focuses it, extra damage. Somebody should tank Umbre, I guess, but since we only got tanks, we can just let him walk up slowly to us. Like, we don't need to greet the assassin if the assassin is not assassinating anybody's teams. He's still coming up to our tanks anyway. Looking good so far. Here comes the Kuka Omega, helping us killing the Ripelands who got so much sustain. Next Omega cast of Umbre is gonna do a lot of damage, but we are pretty tanky. We also are shielded up from our Enchanter. And once the Enchanter casts his Omega, you see it right there, the Omega power of all allies is increased. Alrighty. So... we got a Ramfire here, a Scoriox, and we're just gonna go up to wave number 10, and then we should have enough mastery points to work with. So just 3 more waves. We need some... I think we're pretty good. Like, we counter the enemy affinities with all our waters. we're tanky enough to sustain their damage, and they don't have damage themselves, so we can't just kill the Scoryx right away. And Rampfire, he will be a tough nut to crack. My favorite thing would be to have like an Axodon here, Axon, who will trigger Rampfire's Omega. But I don't know if he can sustain long enough and if we are staying away for long enough, but I think that's what we're gonna try to do. We have 150 mastery points to work with, so we could still bring in something else like this or something, but I think we should be good. We're rolling a bit the dice on this one. So, alrighty, looks well down here. Rampfire is gonna cast his Omega. Maybe Axon is actually, no, he's not able to dodge it, but that was good enough. As long as Rampfire wasn't hitting all our units, we knew we had it. It's still pretty close, like the 150 mastery points, I don't think you can do it with much less. And now we get 50 mastery points more, and we're stacking up. If we wanted to pull the trigger on this one and just go right this, we would sell this armor and have 190. That's always a choice to like up and downgrade your armor. But you gotta be careful, like the hybrid usually one is a lot of HP and 10 armor, 10 energy resist. Some of them is physical resistant, some of them is energy resistant. So if you're up against like 5 rogues, you don't want to go for the energy resistant armor right here. You would go for the physical resistance armor. That would actually give you more than the max cost hybrid armor. Catch my drift. We got 5 empaths in the enemy team, 4 nature, so there's a lot of sustain. And they might be able to out-tank us since we don't have a lot of burst damage on our team. And now it's time to get in a big carry. Now it's time to get in something like... Dual F could be a bit too much. I really want to bring in Rampfire, so screw it. Let's just do it because it makes us happy. There we go. We got 3 water tanks and a Rampfire in the back, just shredding through. Axon able to cast his Omega. Beautiful. There comes the big Rampfire Omega. Doing absolutely no damage. What happened there? Nothing exploded. Now Rampfire was stunned for a while. Don't even know what Atipo does. Let's check out his ability. His orb pulses, causing allies in a large area to heal. Alright, pretty straightforward. He's the empath version of this unit. And actually they're almost able to out-sustain us right now. Like, look at that damage and what damage we do. So Rampfire was definitely a bad call right here. And we should have brought in maybe a Furiox. That would have been more single target damage to really kill those empaths. Alright, I'm gonna call it a day right here. I hope you understood what I wanted to teach you. How to maximize early interest and just play the least amount of units so you can have the most amount of mastery points for the rest of the game. And then it's an ongoing fight to really figure out the fine line between too much investment and too little investment. Usually once you go like to higher waves, I like to invest more and more and more just to make it safe, and so I can save my 3 checkpoints till the late game, because now I can restart, but I don't want to restart at wave 6. That's kind of useless. So you basically lose a restart if you die early on. So yeah, try to figure out the first 10 waves perfectly, or the first 6, 7, 8 waves, and then invest more and more and more to be really sure that you can win the wave and go up to those 30, 37, 38. Yesterday we managed to get up to, we beat 38 and then 39 got the best of us, which it feels so good. Like once you're up there, you got all the mastery points to work with. Like after wave 28, I'm usually have my full board deployed, and then I just have hundreds of mastery points left over. So at like 20, I start really investing and saving up less and less mastery points in the bank, because you don't really need it for the late game where you have all units and all augments deployed anyway. So I hope I see you later in the stream. It's gonna be in a few hours on the official Twitch stream, or otherwise I see you tomorrow here on YouTube with another daily video. Much love goes out to all of you. Have a nice day. Goodbye. Adios.